Assalamualaikum and a very good day. I bid to our beloved lecturer, Madam Nur Faiza. Today, me and my group mates are going to do our video presentation. But first of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Ayu Nazirah binti Nasri and my group mates are Farah binti Badrusaman, Kausar binti Abdul Rashid and also Nur Ashikin binti Ramli. We are from MSc 22048 and also a degree student from UiTM Alor Gajah Melaka, and we currently taking FAR560. For this presentation, we are required to answer a few questions based on the video that we have watched on YouTube. So the title of the video that we have watched on YouTube is Icon Agro, Ternakan Ikan Sangkar Membawa Hasil Lumayan. The video was posted by Esra Awani. So let's jump into the video. So, for question 1, we need to identify the relevant accounting standard that can be applied to the activities. The relevant accounting standard is MFRS 141, which is agriculture. Based on the video, Encik alias Mamat is carrying out an agricultural activities relating to catch fish farming. Agricultural activities is the management of biological transformation of biological asset into agricultural produce for sale, processing, or even consumption. It can be either animals or plant. During the agricultural activities, the biological asset will go through different phases such as grow, procreate, produce, or even degenerate. Question 2 required us to identify the biological asset, the agricultural produce, and also the product that is the result of processing after harvest. So the biological asset of the entity is obviously the fishlings. Fishlings is young fish or small fish. So from the video, we know that Encik alias Mamat is cultivating grouper fish and also sea bass. So obviously the BA of Encik alias Mamat and the entity is the fishlings of grouper fish and sea bass. Fishlings will go through phases of growing in the cage. They will also be grouped based on their age and also their size. The agricultural produce is the harvested produce of the entity's biological asset. So, for this case, the agricultural produce of the entity is the fish that is 10 to 12 months old and also the fish that had reached 1 kilogram in weight. The product that is the result of processing after harvest for this entity is the fish which is 10 to 12 months old and also the fish that already reached 1 kilogram in weight that are ready to be sold to the market.
Today I want to discuss about question number 3, 4 and 5. Okay, let's start with number 3. Biological asset is very important to the entity because it will generate substantial revenue or income for business in industries. Biological asset in this company is grouper fish. This asset type is typically seen in the balance sheet of companies in the industries. Other than that, the importance of the biological asset, it is for the purpose of clearly categorizing and identifying assets owned by businesses or produce that is a primary source of the company's income. Okay, number 4, I will explain about recognition criteria of the biological asset. MFRS 141 prescribes that an entity shall recognize a biological asset or agricultural produce when and only when, there are 3 things only. Number 1 is The entity controls the asset as a result of past events. Second is it is probable that future economic benefits associated with the asset will flow to the entity. And the last one is the fair value or cost of the asset can be measured reliably. Okay, number 5. Is the biological asset a bearer or a consumable asset? Grouper fish is consumable asset. Why? Before I further, I will explain a bit what is consumable biological asset. Consumable biological asset is a biological asset that is itself slaughtered or harvested for sale upon reaching its maturity. Its market value increases over time and reaches an optimal value when it will then be harvested for sale. The cash flow that will be received when the asset is sold means that we will receive the money when we sell the grouper fish. So, in the company, grouper fish will be sold within 10 months to 12 months. This has proven that grouper fish is a consumable asset because it will be sold when it has reached its maturity.
The agricultural activity that is managed by entity. Mr. Agus Pemamat is cultivating hybrid grouper fish and sea bass. Hybrid grouper fish is a mix of tiger grouper fish and giant grouper fish. There are about 120 cages of fish, which is 1 cage of adult fish is about 400 fishes and 500 to 600 fishes for small fish. Mr. Agus must maintain the quality of food and water as well as ventilation to ensure that fishes do not die. There are just about 2 cages of sea bass. When the fish are matured, the wholesaler will take the fish to the market. The measurement basis for biological asset and agricultural produce. For biological asset, it should be measured initially and at each balance sheet date at fair value less estimated point of sale cost. For agricultural produce, it should be measured at fair value less estimated point of sale cost at the point of harvest. The biological assets are classified as current assets. This is because the age of the hybrid grouper fish that are matured to sale are within 10 months to 12 months old.
Okay, now we move on to question 9. I will going to give a few examples of the biological asset that has same criteria with a hybrid grouper in agriculture activity. So for the biological asset, we can say let's say we have 3 examples here, such as the sheep, the rubber trees, and tea bushes. Then we could have for the sheep itself, we can say that their agriculture produce is the wool, and the product after harvesting is the carpet of the clothes. And for rubber trees, the agriculture produce for rubber trees is the harvested latex, which means the latex after they were harvested from the rubber tree. And the product after harvesting is the rubber products. Anything related to rubber products such as the slipper or the glove. The last one is the tea bushes. The agriculture produce is the picked tea leaf, which means the leaf that you have picked from the bushes that you ready to sell. And the product that is a result from harvesting is the tea itself. I mean the tea drink. So the tea drink is considered the product after harvesting. I hope you guys can understand and can differentiate between the biological asset, agriculture produce, and the product after harvesting. Lastly, I'm going to explain a little bit about the government grant that can be applied by the entity. In our case study is entity that been doing the agriculture activities such as the aquaculture. But first of all, I'm going to explain about two types of government grant, which is the unconditional government grant and the conditional government grant. For unconditional government grant, it is so simple, which is the company can record the government grant as an income to the company as it become receivable to them. But for conditional government grant, that means the entity has to fulfill a few conditions that has been attached to the grant, and the entity can only recognize the government grant as an income to the company only when the condition has been fulfilled. If the condition has not been fulfilled, they have to record the government grant as a liability to the company because they need to fulfill all the conditions first. And according to the budget 2020 that has been recently announced by our minister, there are a few government grant that the government has provided for this kind of activities, such as the young entrepreneur program. This is an old program that has been continued to up to this year. It's kind of agripreneur program for young agripreneur especially. So they give fund and training and money to the agripreneur. Second is the SME digitalization grant. This is to digitalize their activity, to digitalize their business, make them open to the IR 4.0. And third is the aquaculture development program. This is especially for the aquaculture itself. So this is very suitable for this entity. And lastly, the capture mechanization program. This is a few program, a grant that has been provided by the uh, government to upgrade their machine auto. Yeah, all this sort of government grant that has been provided by the government is very suitable for this kind of entity. So, in conclusion, this video is to show that the business owner, Encik Alias himself, can apply MFRS 141 because they have shown that the entity, the business, has fulfilled the condition in order to be able to recognize the asset as agriculture produce, which is firstly the entity has control over the asset. We can see that Encik Alias and his worker manage the asset from breeding up until the point it was harvested. And secondly, the asset, which is the grouper, will bring the economic benefit to the company. And lastly, you can see from the video, Encik Alias can measure, can estimate the normal price for the 1 kilogram of grouper, the 2 kilogram of grouper. So the fair value or cost of the asset can be measured. We have learned that the barrel plant is the asset that has been used by the entity to produce the agriculture product. So the barrel plant has more than one accounting period because it will be using to produce more and more agriculture product. But it's different from consumable asset, because for consumable asset, the asset will generate or produce the agriculture product, and the asset itself will be harvested. So the asset is only will be available for one accounting period. Next, for the next accounting period, we will have to replace to another asset. So that's why in this video we conclude that baby grouper is the consumable asset. And next is we have to distinguish between the biological asset, the agriculture produce, and the product as a result of after the harvesting process. So basically, the biological asset is the fish, the grouper, since it was acquired by the entity up until the point it was to be harvested. So in this entity, it is up until the grouper reach 10 to 12 months or reach 1 kg for the week. It will be ready to be harvested. So once it will be ready to be harvested, it will call the agriculture produce. And then when the product is ready to be sold at the market, and that's when the grouper is considered as the product after the result of harvesting. Hence, it is clear that the MFRS 141 is applicable to the agriculture activity in this business. So I'm really hoping that you guys can get some benefit from watching this video. And before we end this video, on behalf of all my team members, I would like to give special thanks to our lecturer, Madam Nur Faiza, for guiding us through this semester and to do this assignment. And also credit to Agrobank channel and Mr. Ilyas for their video. Thank you.